Greetings and welcome to the Prime Directive. I'm your host, Jefficho. My co-host as always, Chris. Say hi, Chris.
Hello.
Orville, episode 5. What'd you think?
I thought this was probably their strongest episode so far. No? Ooh, okay. I think I'm really happy that we weren't tackling this subject matter in the first couple episodes where I thought they were awful. But
I think any subject matter in the first episode was a bad idea, but...
Yeah, it was. But I generally liked this one. I still wish we were getting more of the goofy, silly, fun Orville. We've been slowly seeing a bit more of that. But if we're going to be the more serious drama Orville, then I think it is trending in a better direction.
Yeah, I didn't think this was a bad episode, but definitely not the strongest episode for me. I would go 4 and then 2, because this episode really was just like, hi, B story, A story.
That's true.
And not just an episode of A story, an hour and a half episode of A story.
That's true. The archaeological dig was 100% pointless and ignored.
Yeah,
that didn't need to be there at all.
Yeah, it was mildly interesting, the tiny bits we got to see the alien species. You got to learn a bit about Charlie and her interest in that, and how she's not an expert at it all, but she's so passionate about it, she pretty much sounds like one.
And yeah, I was expecting it to, have some reason to be there, like it would tie into Topa and her journey that she's going on in this one, but no, it was just there.
Yeah,
archaeology.
They really could have done that. They could have brought her down on the planet as part of her learning.
And maybe that culture would have, some. Maybe they were the opposite. Maybe they were like an entirely female-dominated culture or something, or just anything.
Honestly, I was just begging for some other story than just this. I was like, yeah, this is a well-told story. It was a good episode in that fact, but like, I want my sci-fi. This is honestly why I think I don't think the Orville is trending in the direction of getting renewed.
That is going to be interesting to see. Like, they've been so delayed. Like, I imagine there's probably a lot of the audience that's been lost.
Yeah, I think it's on Disney.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna get a new audience from just simply being on there. But it's a Star Trek show. But it's not doing as much Star Trek as it is doing messages, which, wow, timely messages, for sure, 100%. But I think the lack of sci-fi is going to be to its detriment.
It's definitely... Orville this season has been very unsubtle with their messaging, and in a lot of times that can be, that's fine. Like, I'm very reminded watching Orville this season of Let That Be Your Last Battlefield from the original series, and like Gene Roddenberry just reaching through the television and screaming at America, "Stop being racist!" But like, it's extremely bonk on the head like that.
It is now safe to proceed.
So yeah, this episode starts off with a dig.
Yeah, yes it does.
There's just no safe way to disarm this booby trap to get into this chamber of all this gold and burial stuff, so they send Isaac.
Just let Isaac go in.
Yeah. Arrows. Arrows that just bounce right off.
Yeah, I thought we were going to be doing a little Indiana Jones episode. Yeah. Maybe something like that.
Yeah. I mean, one of them got stuck in his head. Didn't affect him at all.
No.
Would have been cool to see his kill face.
That was a joke.
Yes. They get to him to get all this gold. And then we see Mucklin on their Mucklin Bridge, and they're battling the Kalon. And I was just like, at first I thought it was a simulation, because I'm just like, this feels like a simulation room. Yeah. And then they they're getting destroyed, and then you realize it's Topa. I was like, how old is Topa now?
This is a classic Star Trek thing where the kid just ages up to the age we need them to be.
Yeah.
Just like Alexander before her. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just with this and like other sci-fi shows I've been watching, it's just not even other sci-fi. It was stated when I was doing my edit of last week's episode, it had only been a year for Ed's kit. So, yeah, again...
They grow up fast.
Yeah.
It's a completely different species. Yeah. Completely different species.
Sure. He's also kind of keeps writing her letters that he can't send her, and then Kelly's just still like, such a good dad. If only you had tongs and jokes.
Only he had tongs and jokes, and he could, and they're efficient future space tongs. So he only needs to. Okay, yeah, I'm done.
They might be something she'd want to read. Since I'm missing her life now, she can go back in time. I feel like I was there.
You know, after all these years, you're still able to surprise me.
So yeah, Topa is related with Kelly. I wonder why. And yeah, this whole episode, it's all about Topa kind of discovering about the secret of her being changed into a boy, and then not identifying with it. Felt like the person they were was changed, and they didn't understand why. Yeah, which was really kind of a cool thing. And then it got to the point where Dad's always just like, "You're not hanging out with Kelly anymore." Yeah, and then
this was extremely good cop, bad cop between Clyden and Bortus.
That's always Clyden.
And Clyden's been awful for like at least 2 seasons now.
Yeah. But I mean, you did have a good explanation as to why when he's just like hates his kid.
You know what? I was. I guess we can get into that now. What was sort of I was sort of rolling my eyes a bit at the start when they were just like exposition dumping Topa's history, and I'm like, who's gonna forget that? And then they exposition dumped Clyden's history, where he was also born female, and I was like, I totally forgot that. So, okay, all right, fine, I'm dumb.
I wish you were never born.
I imagine we're going to come back to Clyden at some point, but I think while what he ends up saying to Topa and how he ends up acting is like completely unforgivable, you can't be a parent like that. You can understand how he got there, because he was also born female, and he had the same thing. He, you would assume, has the same emotions about it, or did. And he's, just completely repressed them, and he's leaned super hard into his culture, denying what he is, denying these feelings. And then here comes his daughter, who is now in an environment where she can be supported, and she can be her true self. And in order for Clyden to be okay with that and like want that for her, he'd sort of have to admit to himself that he's wasted his entire life. Like, how old's this guy? He's lived his entire life denying these feelings, believing, this is evil and wrong. And like, what a giant mountain he would have to overcome to say, to end up supporting his kid. You'd have to say, everything I believed has been wrong. Like, I've wasted all these years of my life. And it certainly doesn't excuse what he did, but I think that's an interesting space to sort of examine.
Well, I mean, he kind of has wasted his life. He's the Keiko without a school.
What does he even do on the ship?
Yeah.
What do you do here?
Trophy husband, that's it.
Trophy husband, yes. I abuse my child.
I'm gonna use my imagination and pretend that didn't just happen. Then I'm gonna let go. And you're gonna get the hell out of my office. If you ever try to strike an officer again, I'm gonna break your goddamn arm off and mount it on my wall.
I just feel like you're right about like his placement of anger and all that, but like in the end, like he's got nobody to blame but himself, and the fact that he knew he was susceptible genetically to have a female. Yeah. And he still went ahead and had kids. He could have adopted.
Could have adopted, yeah. It's sad though. Like Clyden, again, not excusing his behavior because it's not acceptable, but it's sad. Like it's tragic what happened to Clyden, and what his culture has turned him into.
What I really like about it is how much of a bro Bortus is, though. Yes, it's Bortus just like he is trapped like his culture and the Mucklins, but he also knows that it's wrong. And that episode really turned him on against his own people.
Listen very closely to me. You are perfect.
he's the one that gave her the password. Password.
Yeah, I liked that because when we were watching that, and Kelly we assumed it was Kelly who just straight up given her the password. I'm like, you're right, but like you're really kind of digging your nose in there, Kelly.
Yeah,
that's kind of a lot.
Well, she had to say something, and I thought it was weird that she didn't bring it up to Clyden, because Clyden comes in to threaten her. And basically, what I loved about that part of this episode was Isaac's just like, should we make a shipwide announcement that we are not having sex? Because I've heard every time somebody goes into somebody's quarters.
Yeah, let's just not say anything, Isaac.
But yeah, Isaac talked to Topa, and Topa's asking about like, oh, suicide, how is it?
So, would you recommend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 or 5 stars?
Yeah.
And so he has to report that to Kelly, and Kelly's having this conversation with Clyden, and it's just, why? That would be like the first thing I'd bring up. Be like, your kid, like, why is she interfering in the first place, if you think about it? Your kid is talking about killing themselves.
Yeah, like,
because of this whole identity thing.
Yeah, this isn't just normal teenage.
Yeah, this is why she's interfering, because you're not going to have a kid soon.
Yeah.
They're going to off themselves. And I would think that would wake Clyden up a bit better than just the conversation that they did have.
Yeah. Did you know your culture's wrong?
It is my understanding that a visit to a crew member's quarters during off-duty hours can invite speculation regarding intent. If you wish, I will send a shipwide communique assuring the crew that this was not a romantic or sexual encounter.
And I just love that Clyden's just like really like big, strong, muckling dude, and just like it's manhandled by Kelly or woman-handled by Kelly.
Yeah.
And it's just like, your trophy husband.
she's got union combat training.
Oh, exactly. And the fact that like, yeah, Clyden, yeah, you're a big, strong dude, but like, you're a trophy husband. Like, you don't use those muscles. You're like Bowflex. It's just for show. Yeah, it builds your core strength, Chris, but like, it's so expensive.
And he got absolutely rocked by by Isaac later as well.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense though.
Yeah, I don't understand why Isaac didn't lock the door.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm crazy Clyden, I'm getting the gun and killing the robot dude. Like, you got 100 reasons to kill the robot dude. This is like another one.
And I did like their solution to the problem in this
I laughed.
in the episode.
I laughed so hard at that. And shipwide. I love it when there's a shipwide on the Orville as opposed to all the shipwides I've had to deal with Discovery, because it's such a refreshing change. Even Pike's such a refreshing shipwide change. And the Orville's just like, yeah, Borders is gonna put on a concert tonight.
Everyone should go.
Yeah, you let me know. And it's like, well, who's flying the ship?
If you'd care to attend, please submit a notification to Commander Kiali.
Damn, you're a hot ticket, Borders.
I do that because basically the Admiralty said, no, you can't change Topa back, because Topa wants to change back after talking to Claire. And so they find the solution, because Claire cannot. They actually went down on the planet for a second. We're still waiting on the Newton, the science vessel. I'm like, come on, I want to see another ship, goddammit. And then Claire's like, oh, I'll quit. Yeah, I'll quit, and then I can do the surgery, because the Admiral said I can't do it as a Union officer. And then it's just like, they won't rehire her after that. I'm like, there's a war going on. I think anything you do is pretty much forgivable.
Honestly, the political situation they crafted for this, was very, I felt like it made sense. Like, nobody wanted the situation to be like this, but I think the Admiral was pretty correct in, like, if Moklis sees Union officers doing this, they're not going to be part of the Union anymore.
Yeah, but the fact that Isaac ends up doing it,
which is why it was perfect, because he's already the enemy.
Yeah,
he's already the enemy.
I would still think that even the Admiral's just like, you let this happen on your ship, so you're like incompetent in it.
You seem to think that your personal judgment is more sound than the judgment of the entire Union Council. That is a staggeringly arrogant point of view, wouldn't you say?
Yes, sir.
What's that?
Yes, sir.
I also have canon issues on how the Admiral got to that science vessel, because the science vessel had already left and was 10 days out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a few canon jokes with this one, but
whatever.
Yeah, that's And then like Admiral's just like, you fucked up, kid. Blah, kid, we hate you and this and that, and this is like, but if it was me. It's like,
She has to do that.
I'm
That's
like,
her
no,
job.
I'm sorry. You could say your little personal thing after all you want, and I will buy that from almost every other admiral, but no, you did too much of the bitch downside.
No, that's her job. She needs to, like, she can't have a ship going rogue and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen that speech done 100 times, and I'm just like, everybody else will turn
Okay,
that corner.
obviously it's better when Picard does it, because that's what Seth's writing, is he's writing Picard dressing down an officer, and then at the end he's just like, but excellent job, Mr. Wolf. And it's not fair to compare people to Patrick Stewart, alright?
Alright, well, I was thinking more of the other admirals that talk to Stewart like that, but...
There was a boy, a very strange enchanted boy.
Good to hear Bortus sing. I don't know if I could sit through 4 hours of it. I mean, he's got a good voice, but it's a lot of the same tone.
Yes. I really did. I appreciated the little joke at the beginning where he's just like, that key is too high.
Yes.
That was good.
Yeah, the yell at the kid.
Yeah.
That key is too high.
Sorry.
A lot of the crew, I mean, they'll be 100% different if we ever see that many of them again. Extras. And then finally, yeah, we see the Newton show up and I'm just like, fuck yeah, this is going to be the same ship. There's one less little thing on the back, but like, come on, guys.
They've all been the same ship. Why were you expecting anything different?
I had high hopes. Oh, this is why. This is why I expected something different, because nothing else was happening in this episode. I was like, oh,
That's
sweet.
where all the budget went?
Yeah.
I guess this was definitely a bottle episode kind of show. Like, they're saving their money here. Compared to all the sets and adventures and the big CGI from episode 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And 4.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. Overall thoughts? Final thoughts?
Final thoughts? Yeah, definitely excellent, timely message. I think they're getting better this season of being able to tell like allegorical, more serious, dramatic sci-fi. I don't think they're as good at that as they were in season 2, and they're definitely not as good at having that and mixing it with the humor as they were in season 2. I do feel like we're trending upwards, but this far in, we're kind of running out of time in the season. Like, I'm still enjoying the show, but it's not where it was.
Yeah, my feelings too. It's just like, I want more sci-fi shows to watch. I really enjoyed the last 2 seasons of the Orville, but the way the season's going, I'm just like, I've watched like what makes a show not get renewed, and this show's already at risk because they had to swap channels and they had to do all this, and it's an expensive show and it takes a lot of time to produce it. I was like, they're probably not gonna do it if this doesn't like capture your imagination, like inspire you. And what it's doing is giving me great timely messages about all the shit that's going wrong in the world these days, but it's not like giving me great sci-fi that I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna watch that because I love the sci-fi stories.
Commander,
Topa, am I interrupting?
no. I've exceeded my allotted time. I apologize.
It's all good. No big deal. Were you running the command program?
Yes.
And I bet you Seth MacFarlane does not have as much pull with Disney as he did with Fox.
Yeah, well, I mean, he dealt directly with Hulu when he made this and was working with it, so Disney coming in and basically just getting the property and putting it on their channel is what they're doing. Hulu still exists as a separate entity. They're just owned by Disney now. Well, as always, guys, thanks for watching. See you next week.